Hi there, it's Pascal here. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about domestic violence. Now, or domestic abuse. I don't know which one to pick, but it's all similar. Now, as I was just driving past, coming through Catford now, I saw a on a billboard that domestic violence have gone up by 49%. And that kind of struck an accord with me in how some of the problems this pandemic will cause in homes. Because in as much as some people look at working as a some sort of leaving the house in the morning, coming back in the evening, as sort of a system where they just use it to avoid stress that is happening at home. And now the pandemic has literally forced people, possibly husband and wife, to be at home for a very long period of time. Nobody's working. So there are some things that are gonna take place, which a lot of us don't know. We wouldn't really say pinpoint and say this is how it's going to be, because when you don't spend time with your spouse for a very long time and all of a sudden you see yourself housebound for almost 3 months now or even more, and at some point it will begin to take its toll. Because I was speaking to a friend of mine again when he was telling me when the initial lockdown started, and he was just very angry just being in one place at for the whole day, and he couldn't wait to go back to work. Luckily for him, he's one of the key workers, so he was able to go back to work. But he couldn't just stand it, being in the same house with his spouse. He didn't tell his spouse, but he was telling me that he just don't understand. He just can't be at home. Because I always try to encourage people who have some certain attitude or behavior towards their spouse to literally stop paying attention to their spouse and start focusing on themselves, to really understand what the challenge is. And for me, this is a very strong topic, because I have learned a lot about myself since I started my online business. And it came from very negative experiences. At some point, I was living in a house with my spouse. We weren't talking. I was complaining for every single thing at home. You just don't want. I don't even like to remember it. But when I started my online business, I picked up a book, The Strangest Secret. It said you will become what you think about. And that literally started changing my way of thinking. I started thinking about, am I the one literally seeing all these negative things in my spouse? Does it mean that there is no positive thing in her? So I started looking at what I was thinking about her. Not literally me. It was me. You got to understand, it was me thinking this thing. It was me working on my mind, thinking my spouse is like this. There's always two sides to a coin. There's always good and bad, but I was constantly focusing on the bad side. And what I learned, I picked up another book, The Law of Success in 16 Lessons. Started He was telling a story about, if you have a child now, two kids, and as soon as you buy a toy for one, or a child arrives somewhere with a toy, and what happens if there's another child there? Quickly, that child will just want to go and grab that toy, even if it's not his. So, or if you if a child punches another child, what literally happens? The other one retaliates immediately. And what am I saying here? Sometimes abuse is not physical; it could be words. When you say it's, in fact, the words are even more dangerous. When you say negative things to someone else. It doesn't really matter whether it's your spouse, your children. um Another thing I can, what do you think is coming back to you? Whatever you put out in the world will always come back to you. When you say negative things towards your partner, your children, it's definitely going to come back to you, and that's what you're creating in your own life. In the beginning was the word. You're saying it. So all these things comes from thoughts. They say before you say anything in from your mouth, it's already out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So these things has been bottled inside you. Another very good example I learned from being close to my son. This was all before lockdown. Was every time I want to help him do his homework, I'll be yelling, shouting, lack of patience, lack of understanding. All these books I started reading started educating me more of how I was behaving literally towards my son. I was not patient with him. I expect him to learn something in 10 minutes, you know, forgetting that I did not learn that way. It's kind of patience and repetition and communication skills. All these things I started learning. So when I saw that billboard today saying domestic violence is risen by 49%, what I want you to look at is ask yourself very one simple question. What is really the reason why many couples argue or fight over each other or yell at each other? What's the real reason? For me, I've come to the conclusion it's communication. It's not complicated. It's how you alter words into the other person. That's how what they're gonna throw back at you. So the moment you start focusing on the good things in your spouses, I know some people will say you've tried it doesn't work. You got to understand it's from the energy. If you keep trying it and keep trying it, as long as you're doing it from a place in your heart where you are open, then that person is much more likely to receive any constructive criticism you're trying to put out across. And if you learn how to word it, that's what I learned. People ask me what products do I sell online? I tell them it's not literally the products that I sell that makes the difference. It's the communication skill, how I put my message across, that makes the difference. It's not, I can pick anything now and sell it because I know how to find a problem, communicating in an effective way with a solution, and that person can actually consume that information and use it very well. So these are the things. It's never an ending process. You have to understand. I'm constantly evolving, constantly learning more, constantly reading books. So I want, if you are somehow this is what I want to say to you in this video. If you are in a relationship and it's not going down the way you want it to go down, I want you to understand something. It's in your hands. You could turn that relationship around like this, just like this. All you got to do is change your mindset, change the way you think of your spouse. It's that simple. It's not complicated. Success in any area of your life is 95% mindset, 5% strategy. Many people focus more on strategy, you got to focus on your mind first, because your mind is creating the reality, it's creating your world. If I look at my life now, my marriage, my children, my everything, it's just phenomenal. I just can't thank God enough. And this is why I always invite people to join my training, not literally because of how much they are going to make or how much their life is going to transform. It's just for them to cultivate these habits and teach it their kids, because I understand how powerful this information is about the mind. So look around your house. If you are in any way, form, not looking at struggling with your relationship, look around your house. There's a laptop there. Pick it up. Go to my website. Get the free video series. Start indulging in it. Start putting into practice what they are teaching. What Stewart is teaching you on those videos. You wouldn't have time for your spouse to to even begin to talk, because most of the times what causes problems in marriage is finances. I'm just giving you an avenue to improve your finances. You got to do the work. You got to do the work. The woman is telling you, giving you an information, telling you something to do. Maybe she's not a good communicator, but you just got to brace up. Because sometimes it's defense. We do these things out of defense, defending our own right and our ego. But at the end of the day, the problem is still there. Is there no internet in the world? Is there no laptop in your life? Are people not making money online? Rather than yelling and shouting at your kids and all that and your spouse, you could just open your laptop and lock yourself in a room and start putting things into practice and start learning, just doing some work. And you come out of that room very excited because you're creating a better future for your family, regardless of what circumstance that you're in right now. Apart from that, man, this is what I want to share with you. You can turn your life around, and you can turn it around just like that. Apart from that, I want to encourage you to do what you can. Seek for help if you have to. Remember this, no matter how hard it is, I'm going to tell you the truth. It's in your mind. Flip it around. Focus on the good side of that person. In the beginning, when the relationship started, there was love. That love is still there. But right now, you have to look a little bit deep to find it, because problems, circumstances, life, work, influence has covered your eyes, so you can't see it. So you have to look a little bit deeper to find it. But I guarantee you one thing, there's still love in that marriage. There's still love in that relationship. And you can find it if you look for it. I wish you and your family all the best. Take care.